Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this morning on a sunny Saturday morning to celebrate and educate a little bit about electric vehicles. The City Council, the City of Torrance, has directed us to be a leader in electric vehicle charging and electric vehicle technology, and we are here to celebrate that leadership role in the City of Torrance today. We have kind of an aggressive program, so I'd like to kick it off straight away and introduce Mr. Dave DeWitt to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Jeff. Everyone can please stand on the stage and please follow me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner DeWitt. We have a distinguished group of guests here this morning, and I would like to introduce them now, beginning with His Honor, Mr. Pat Fury, Mayor. Councilman Jeff Rizzo. Councilman Michael Griffiths. Councilman Tim Goodrich. Councilman Kurt Wiedemann. Councilwoman Heidi Ann Ashcraft. Also with us, we have Torrance City Clerk Rebecca Poirier. And we are also honored to be joined by several representatives from elected and state officials, including Ms. Betty Chim, representing Ted Lieu. Mr. Hamilton Cloud, representing Maxine Waters' office. And Ms. Sarah Whitfong, representing David Hadley. At this point, I would like to introduce Mayor Fury to give a few comments.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. Morning. It's my pleasure to speak to you today. Thank you for joining us on this less than sunny morning, but this is the way we like it here. Just a little overcast makes it much more comfortable. On behalf of my colleagues on the Torrance City Council, I want to welcome each of you to this great day in our city. We're here today to talk about electric cars. And you know, I really don't know why people are so charged up talking about electric cars. I mean, I once drove an electric car back in the 1980s, truly, and I never had to wait for a charge. The only problem I had is that was just about the time I got up to the speed limit, the cord would pull out of the wall. We've come a long way from that. Seriously, there are some great cars here today. I hope you're all charged up for this event, pun intended. It's sure to be a powerful presentation, pun intended. The technology for electric vehicles and the charging stations has come a long way to help consumers save money on gas, reduce their carbon footprint, and improve air quality. And that's what we're here to do. As a city that encourages environmental sustainability, this is one more way that we can move forward with our efforts. With these new charging stations in Torrance, we become part of a larger regional network. And as growth continues in the electric vehicle market, this is just one more resource we can offer our community and our visitors. I hope this brings more people to visit Torrance and see what we have to offer as far as shopping and dining and other city programs. This ribbon cutting ceremony, the EV Expo, and EV Ride and Drive event is a testament to Torrance's commitment to environmental sustainability. At the City Council's direction, staff pursued grant funding to help the city in supporting alternative fuel strategies by ensuring that access to alternative fuels is readily available. When I say City Council action, that includes the prior City Council, and our former Mayor Frank Scotto is in the back. Give him a round of applause because he was the mayor. He was the mayor when this all started. I also saw, I believe Bill Sutherland is here, and way in the back, standing there talking on his phone, and Tom Brewer is over here. And they were all on the council when this all started. I'll refer back to, and Frank will understand this. We went to Kansas City, Missouri, at an all-American city, and we presented our future in Torrance and California for electric vehicles, and it was really fantastic. Our staff prepared an awful lot, and those people in the rest of the country looked at us like there was something wrong with us. What's this whole thing about electric vehicles? And this was about 6 years ago. So it's been an ongoing thing. We didn't just make this up last week. It took a long time to get where we are. So I want to thank the California Energy Commission for its more than $400,000 grant, and the Clean Transportation from the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Review Committee for their contribution of more than $50,000, both of which helped to make this come to fruition. Please give them a round of applause. Now, although this event is specific to electric vehicle charging, the region should take note of Torrance's path. Whether it's pioneering one of the first publicly accessible hydrogen fueling stations with Toyota and Shell on 190th Street, or allocating space for both CNG and biodiesel refueling at the city yard, completing the Torrance Transit Department buses to an all-green fleet by the end of this year, or ensuring that both Level 2 and DC fast charging stations are made accessible throughout the city of Torrance. It's not just a one-horse show. We're doing everything we can to help our environment. All of these initiatives ensure that Torrance minimizes not only its operational carbon footprint, but also supports our residents, businesses, and their employees that want to do the same. I thank the team from Community Development Department, especially Linda Cessna, Danny Santana, and Nina Lang, and all of the members of our city staff for the work they did to bring these stations to Torrance and the work in making today's event possible. Thank you also to all the EV owners, here to show off your cars and talk to people about them, and of course, to the auto dealers, who are also here to answer any questions about their vehicles. And don't forget, after we cut the ceremonial line from our gas pump over there, stick around for the EV Expo, where you can get information on these vehicles and maybe even take a spin in one today. But thank you again for being here, and let's have an electrifying day. All right, Jeff, what do I do now?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have certificates from our electeds to share with us. So may I call up first Ms. Betty Chim from Congressman Liu's office.
I have my little remarks on, I'm printing it on paper. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here on an exciting ribbon cutting ceremony. I'm here, my name is Betty Liu. I'm here on behalf of my husband, Congressman Ted Liu. I'm also here as a former Torrance Environmental Quality and Energy Conservation Commissioner for over 10 years. I love my city. I want to thank the city of Torrance for inviting Ted and me here today, in particular our Mayor Pat Fury, city council members, and I also want to commend ChargePoint for their work in making this happen, along with Jeff Gibson, Linda Cessna, and other wonderful Torrance staff that we have, and they're working for our great city. Of course, not to mention the Environmental Quality and Energy Conservation Commission, who is always pushing for and promoting for what's good for our city, for our environment. So some of you may know that Ted has served on the Environmental Commission before he was elected as a Torrance City Council member quite a while back now. And then he went on to become California State Assembly member and state senator before he became congressman. Back in the California State Legislature, he had one of the many environmental laws he did was AB 1500, which was to extend the landmark law to allow electric vehicles to have access to HOV lanes. I think as residents here, we all can appreciate and know how valuable access to HOV lanes are. Which brings us to today. In Congress, just to let you know what's going on with him in terms of environment, he has introduced a law called the Climate Solutions Act of 2015. It's a bill that's similar to California's AB 32, which he was also a co-author of back in the state legislature. The Federal Climate Solution Act of 2015, if passed, would be the strongest law combating climate change that our country has. And after all, as Ted often says, climate change is the only issue that can kill us all as a species. So the most effective way and cause of action to fight against climate change is for local governments to take action that will make a direct impact in their respective communities. Localized action on the ground. This is what's going on here today in Torrance from our council members, from our city. So as the saying goes, if everyone swept their front porch, the entire world would be a much cleaner place. Well, here our city of Torrance has certainly done an incredible job of sweeping our own front porch with these spectacular electric vehicle charging stations. We are a city that is very proud of our environmental leadership. However, I just want to remind everyone that our porch, even though our porch is much cleaner, there's still a lot of work left to do in this world to combat climate change. So thank you again for inviting Congressman Liu and me to this event. We are so proud to call Torrance our home. I have a congressional certificate of recognition presented to the city of Torrance, recognizing them for their participation in the National Drive Electric Week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trim. Now may I invite up Mr. Hamilton Cloud.
Good morning, everyone. Congresswoman Waters is out of town today, but she is so proud to represent part of Torrance in the United States Congress and is so pleased to be able to work with Representative Liu in advocating for the interests of the entire city. And this event is a very significant marker of progress. And as Mayor Fury pointed out, Torrance has been in the vanguard of adopting these new technologies and looking forward and leading the rest of the country towards alternatives to carbon-based fuels. And so she asked me to come today to present this certificate of special recognition to the Torrance event on the occasion of your electric vehicle charging station ribbon cutting ceremony and EV Expo, EV Ride and Drive event. And in appreciation of the planned 6 public charging stations available to residents of Torrance at locations throughout the city, you are to be commended for proactively promoting the use of clean transportation technologies in our regions. Congratulations and best wishes, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, 43rd District of California. Thank you.
Thank you. And now may I introduce Ms. Sarah Whitfeld.
Good morning. My name is Sarah, and I'm with Assembly Member David Hadley's office. And we're just here. We're very thankful to be part of this event. It's an historic occasion. We know that electric vehicles have become more and more present in the marketing community and into vehicles itself. And we're just very thankful that the City of Torrance is now accommodating this industry. And we're also very thankful for the City of Torrance's dedication to the environment. So we're very honored to be here, and as well, we have a certificate of recognition from the California State Assembly recognizing the new charging stations as well as the expo for the electrical vehicle event. So on behalf of the California State Assembly, just say congratulations and thank you for having me here.
introduce Mr. Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for those recognitions from our elected officials at the state and federal level. There are private sector partners that participate in this process, and I think they play an integral role in making all of this happen. So at this point, may I introduce Mr. Brendan O'Donnell, Director of Southwest Sales for ChargePoint Incorporated, the company who's providing the chargers that you see out there today.
Thank you. Make sure this thing doesn't go too loud. I wanted to say thank you, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for letting us be part of this event. We all know that the electric vehicles have a great impact on the environment and an enormous effect on the way we advantages over gas vehicles. Plug-in electric vehicles actually reduce greenhouse gases and improve air quality and reduce the dependency on fossil fuel. And over the life of the vehicle, they actually provide up to 45 tons of greenhouse gas savings. You know how much 45 tons is? It's about the size of a whale. So we're actually helping to reduce that. But before making the switch to electric vehicles, people need to know that they have access to convenient charging. And today, the City of Torrance is making this switch possible, giving residents and visitors the opportunity to drive electric, to save money, and to reduce their carbon footprint. I can tell you personally that city staff put ChargePoint and about a dozen other vendors through a very grueling process of evaluation to see who could support the grand vision that they had. And we were very, very lucky to be selected as the provider, the network of electric vehicle chargers that will serve the city. The city has shown a commitment to sustainability and the future of transportation in doing this. And the addition of these charging stations will accelerate the EV adoption and make it possible for drivers to depend on electric vehicles as their only car. So we're excited to add this new stations to our growing network of 23,000 chargers that we have available out there, 2,000 within driving distance from right here, and add this to the largest EV charging network in the world. Our goal at ChargePoint is to get everybody behind the wheel of an EV and provide charging everywhere they go. With the help from the City of Torrance, we can accomplish this. So we're excited to bring these stations online, provide the support to the EV drivers and the businesses in the area with charging stations, and then continue to increase the access to charging station in this region and across the country. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you again and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Now, at this point, I would like to introduce Mr. Joel Levin, who is the new Executive Director of Plug-in America, who is really part of the sponsors of this nationwide event.
Thank you very much. So my name's Joel Levin, and I'm the Executive Director of Plug-in America. We're one of the organizers of National Drive Electric Week, along with the Sierra Club and the Electric Auto Association. If you're not familiar with us, Plug-in America is a membership-based, nonprofit organization that's exclusively focused on accelerating the rollout of electric vehicles. That's all we do. We've been doing it for 10 years, and among other things, we've fought for and we continue to defend the federal and state credits for electric vehicle buyers, and we're pushing for better charging infrastructure around the country, and we hold a lot of events like this one so that more Americans can experience these great cars. I want to congratulate all of you for coming out today. You are part of something really big and important that's happening in our country. This week, something like 200 events like this one are being held all over the country in 41 states. About 100,000 people, more or less, maybe more, are going to be participating over the next week. It's really quite incredible. And there's going to be something more than 3,200 cars that are going to be brought to these events. 3,200 cars. That's extraordinary. When we first started doing these events 5 years ago, I'm not sure that there were actually 3,200 electric cars. So when you drive around the streets of Southern California these days, electric cars are pretty common. You don't have to look very hard to see them. They're everywhere. And this is really a huge change from just a couple of years ago. When we started doing this event, electric cars weren't on the streets. You had to really hunt to find them. So I want you to appreciate the enormous paradigm shift that's happening right in front of your eyes. And you're participating in it. These cars are changing the world. And you're part of it, and it's happening here today. Electric cars are the future. And as one of our volunteers likes to put it, they're just better. So a few years from now, when most of our transportation is electric, the world is going to look very different. For one thing, our air is going to be a lot cleaner. Every time one of these vehicles gets sold, the air gets a little bit cleaner. And we will take a big bite out of climate change. And our economy will not be subject to wild swings in oil prices, gas prices, and we won't be involved in foreign wars over oil. But instead, the fuel for our vehicles will come from clean electricity. And many of us will fuel our vehicles from sunshine that we gather from our rooftops. That sounds like some kind of weird, far-off fantasy, but in fact it's not. California is moving pretty quickly in that direction right now. And the technology for doing that, in fact, is all pretty much represented here today among all the various vendors that you see around you. So right now, for example, in California, rooftop solar is comparable in price to grid electricity, and plug-in cars are comparable or less than the price of gasoline cars once you take into account the government rebates and benefits that are available, the savings on fuel, the savings on maintenance, and on top of all that, they're a lot more fun to drive, as I hope you will discover today. So I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to encourage you to learn all you can about these cars, and then go home, tell your friends and family. And if you're interested in getting involved with Plug in America, come up afterwards and grab me and let's talk, or talk to one of our volunteers that are here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And before we step off the stage to cut the ribbon or the hose as down there on the gas pump, we have some special remarks by Councilman Tim Goodrich.
Thank you, Jeff. I am very excited to be here this morning because I'm actually an EV owner and driver and have been since 2011. For those of you who don't know, this is actually the culmination of two different events. One, the installation and groundbreaking for the electric vehicle charging stations that we have not only here but at 6 different locations throughout the city. And two, the South Bay's first ever Drive Electric Week event. And that deserves a round of applause. So this came to be when our staff, they smartly said, well, I think our installations will be done right around the time where Drive Electric Week event will be happening across the country. So with that, I'd like to thank our staff members, especially Danny Santana, Nina Lang, Linda Cessna. Those are the key people that really led the charge in bringing these events together. So thank you for that. Also, I want to thank my council members and mayor, past and present, for having the vision not only to install these chargers, but also to support the South Bay's first ever Drive Electric Week event. And finally, our commissioners from the Environmental Quality Commission. I know they put some effort into this as well, and appreciate that. As I mentioned, I've been driving an electric vehicle since 2011. The timing was actually right on. April 28th, 2011 is when I picked it up, and it left the port of Tokyo in Japan the day before the tsunami hit. And if it wasn't for that perfect timing, there's a bunch of Leaf owners that wouldn't have had their vehicles right at the very beginning like that. So we got very lucky. The reason I actually started driving an electric vehicle is you've all heard the saying, think globally, act locally, right? Well, I had an experience over in the Middle East as a veteran who was deployed over there, and I saw the values that people in the Middle East live by, and those are not the values that we live by here in our country. In fact, I was just telling my class that I teach part-time, Poli-Sci 101, this past week, that there's many countries around the world where they don't even allow women to vote. And I don't want to be supportive of countries like that. Vote with our dollars, and that's what we're doing right here today by driving electric vehicles. Also, there's economic benefits to driving electric cars. By supporting electric vehicles and driving one, you're supporting our electric grid investments in future technology to make it more stable, and investments in infrastructure where our workers here in the United States are being put to work on a daily basis. And finally, there are also the environmental benefits that we all know. One thing that many people don't think of, that as electric vehicle owners, we're always looking for a place to charge. So when you plan your day thinking about where you might go shopping, you think about where the charging stations are. And I think this is perfect timing. The Del Amo Mall coming online. A lot of people from outside of our city are going to be coming down to our city, seeing what else Torrance has to offer. And besides being able to charge at one of the 24 new charging stations over at the Del Amo Mall that are about to be coming online pretty soon here, they also have the charging stations throughout the rest of our city. And they'll be able to see what we have to offer. And finally, I just wanted to close with a question to you. I wanted to throw it out there. Who has ever heard of a Drive Gas Week event? That's right. You haven't, because there are none. But there are Drive Electric Week events because people who drive electric cars are very passionate about them. And by you being here today, you'll be able to see why they're passionate about them and hopefully become a part of the future yourself. In fact, you are, just by being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. At this point, we're going to step off the stage and go down to the fuel pump to cut the ribbon and the hose. Before we do that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, and I invite you to go out and now enjoy the expo. Thank you very much.
Still rolling, right?
Yes.
You're looking skinny. Maybe now you got big boy. What? Skinnier? Oh. I used to think you're brown on the other. Now I know now you know what the brown is. It's just inbred. You should see my guys on a Friday. Thursday I'm so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Hello?
I hear Tesla saying, don't forget me. All right, everybody. As we said earlier, this is really a big day in the city of Torrance and the entire South Bay. Coming on the heels of the groundbreaking at our transit center, I think we're showing that we are leading the area in environmental issues, and I think this is What did Vice President Joe Biden say? This is really a big deal. So with that, my colleague here will cut the line.
3, 2, 1.
You know how I Okay, you are going to get one. Not now.
Sure. Okay, everybody, the expo is now open, so check out the electric vehicles and talk to all the owners and the car dealers and see if you can't find one to drive away today. And of course, you get a test drive over in the north end of the parking lot.
I replaced it. No, and then I like really so.
Stop that clip. If you want to do some B-roll or whatever, that's fine.